Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and I was just at Gotham Central Comics and Collectibles right here in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, not too long ago. We were doing the Be Our Heroes Canada comic book relief fund, and it was really great. And one of the highlights was one, me going back to the comic book store after like a month and a half. Another one was actually getting the opportunity to have a sit down with Jason Fabok. Now, there were some technical issues. He could hear us, we couldn't hear them, or we couldn't hear him. That was a little frustrating, but we tried to make do. We started listening to the stream live with about a 30-second delay, so we could hear most of what he was saying in response, but not the end. And instead of just sitting there going, huh, because it was live. But this is not live, so we're going to cut out a lot of the nonsense. We're just going to listen to it's about 15, 17 minutes long, but it's a pretty good one. He talks a whole lot about the three Jokers. So let's get started on that.
You know what? I know the answer to this. So how about this? Let's do this as simple as possible. Jay, what's up, brother? Talking to you, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. I talked to you at Fan Expo Canada, and you gave me the absolute most heartwarming and endearing reason why the Three Jokers was going to be late. I loved it. I almost cried, and I really wish that you would tell everybody else the reason.
Well, for the last 2 years, I've been working on this book, and I've been pouring my heart and my soul and everything into this book. From the very beginning, Jeff and I, we wanted to do a story that was really going to be something that was memorable. We wanted to do something that people were going to remember. We didn't want to rush this book. We wanted to take the time, and we discussed even making sure that we had the entire 150 pages done before we even started soliciting the book. And that was the plan, and we've stuck to that plan. And we originally solicited for June the 17th, and sadly, none of us could foresee all this stuff that was going to happen with the pandemic. So the book had to be pushed back. DC decided that they wanted to make sure that every store would be open so that people could pick the book up and come into the store, pick it up, and see the other things that are on the shelf. And I think they made a good call on that. But from my end, I'm done all of the principal art on all three issues. We're actually going to be taking this time right now to go back and actually edit different things from that first issue, from the second issue, and the third issue. I drew things from that first issue 2 years ago. And as we've been working on it, Jeff has come up with some different ideas and some different dialogue things that he wants to tie in better and tighter with issue 3. So we're going to go back. We're going to make a couple little changes here and there. We're going to tweak some panels. And I think that it's just going to make for a better book. Normally when you're working on a monthly book, you're doing one issue, and then you are sort of, that comes out and you're racing ahead on the next issue, hoping to make deadlines so that book then can come out. And it's so quick and so fast. You don't have time to kind of look back and reflect on the work that you're doing, and then make changes and make things kind of, from front to back really flow. Like a lot of times it's just almost luck that things just come together, perfectly when you're working on a monthly book. And so with this gives us a unique opportunity to go back to make sure everything is great from front to back, from the first issue to the last issue. And so that kind of excites me, because that means that I can do the best work possible on this book. And if this is the one, I'm very confident about this book. I think this will be the one that might be my legacy at DC. And I'm glad that I have the opportunity to do what I'm doing and really make this thing something special. So it's a bummer that it's going to be late, but in the end, it's giving me more time to do some cool stuff. And there's some other things we haven't actually talked about or even announced. This gives me the time to do those things now. And whereas before those things might have been delegated to different people. Anyway, you'll see that coming up soon, but an announcement about that or whatever. But there's going to be some cool little things we're going to add into this book to make it something really special for the fans who want to support it. And we want this book to drive people to the comic book shops. We want you to pick up a physical copy of this because we want this to be something that's really going to be special. And we want to bring business to the comic book stores. And that's been sort of our mission since day one, to make something really special for the fans, to make something that that we enjoy doing, that Jeff and I have really enjoyed doing, and it's been a labor of love for us, and to make sure that it supports the stores and drives fans into the stores to pick it up.
That is fantastic. I'm hearing you on delay over here, but I get the gist. That was the big thing. When you talk about this being your legacy, brother, wow. Like that, look, I'm not mentioning names. That's not what I'm here for, but I'm going to mention your name. That's the kind of stuff that us fans love to hear from artists, from writers, from anything. I remember you said you loved that script so much. You said this could literally be like my magnum opus. I'm like, wow. So I still expect great art from you, including, hey man, you gonna be doing any more figures? Because those were beautiful.
I would love to do some more action figure stuff in the future. Right now, there's nothing really. I haven't been doing any designs or anything for DC for action figures, but I did design a bunch of statues for Prime One Studios, and so those will be announced and coming out. I don't know, sometime in the near future, but yeah, doing collectibles and that kind of thing. I love that. That's a passion of mine, and I love toys. You can see my office. I got all kinds of stuff back here, and figures and statues. So yeah, hopefully soon I'll be able to do some more stuff with that.
All right, so I'm thinking, listen, we're just going to go back to the basics while I'm listening to your answer. Can you tell us how you got into the comic books? More specifically, what's the first comic book that you ever got that you remember? What's the one that actually made you decide this is what I'm doing? The
first one I ever got, I have it up on my shelf over there, but I can't remember the number. It's an issue of Batman. I believe it's Batman 643, something like that. I had that one as a kid. I remember reading it a bunch, and the covers are falling off of it and all this kind of stuff. But that was the first comic book I remember having. But the book that really changed my life was, here, I have it here. The book that, Hush was the one that, for me, really, that made me want to become a comic book artist, was Batman Hush. And reading that, seeing Jim Lee's art, it was just, it blew my mind. And I remember, it's just a beautiful, beautiful book. And it's the kind of comic book art that that I wanted to draw. I'm trying to find it. Like this page here, like with Batman punching Joker. Or not Joker. Superman. But seeing Jim Lee's art, that was like the thing. Like it just really resonated with me, and I knew that I wanted to kind of go in that style. I wanted that kind of artwork, that big, bold artwork. And so I started doing that, and after practicing and learning, and I've been able to get where I am. There was a few other things along the way, but that book, Batman Hush, was the one that really spoke to me.
All right, so listen, I understand, no spoilers. What do you think you got in the future? Or if you can't say, because I understand, then how about we change the question to, what would you like to do in the future?
I know what I'm doing next, but I can't say what I'm doing next because it's secret. But I'm going to be. going to be tackling that. That's this next project is the one that I really wanted to do, and then I kind of know what's going to happen from this for the rest of this year and into next year. But all of that stuff I can't really talk about it right now.
As awesome. We're going to hear that in a couple of seconds, I'm sure. In the meantime,
How much do you miss hockey? I know you're a big Leafs fan. How are you keeping up in this pandemic?
I miss it. I miss playing it. That was my weekly exercise routine, was going out and playing 2 times a week, sometimes even 3 times a week. And I really miss it. We'd be playing summer hockey right now, and I miss that. I miss playing hockey with my buddies and my friends. But yeah, I miss hockey. Right now would be the playoffs. And being a Leafs fan, knowing that there's a curse on the Toronto Maple Leafs, this would have been the year that the Maple Leafs would have won the Stanley Cup, because that's just how it works, right? Like
Okay, I'm thinking final question. What's your ideal vacation?
Well, Hawaii.
I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I want to go back to Hawaii. My wife and I went there a couple years back, and I just loved it. I love the island. I love the people. I would like to go back to Hawaii, sit on the beach, and just chill out. So yeah.
One more question.
All right.
Your outlook on the comic industry as a DC artist. I remember your first time in my store, Detective Comics, was fantastic. That cover, I wish I bought it from you. How do you see our industry, the future of comics after this pandemic?
Without sounding too cutthroat, I think that comics need to be higher quality, less quantity. I think companies need Marvel, DC. They need to get their top writers and their top artists on their top characters, focus on those books coming up monthly, and simply delivering the best products that you possibly can. I don't want to talk bad about modern comics, but I've kind of just haven't really been.
There we go. Are we back? We're back.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Jay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
He's frozen. Let him go.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see higher quality books coming out from the top creators. And I think if you focus on good quality comic books, you will get the attention of readers and the attention of fans, especially ones that have been lost who have kind of walked away from comics. You'll get their attention again because the books are high quality, and you'll drive them to the store. And that's something that I think Black Label books have really done well. I think that the Black Label comics have done that perfectly. And so that's why I'm happy to be doing Three Jokers through Black Label, because we're able to do what we want, make it as high quality as we want, and just focus on a great story with great characters and emotion, and give fans what they deserve. Fans want the best, to read the best comic. When you're buying a $2.99 book, you want to see that it's got the best art, the best writing, and you want to keep buying that book, and you want to keep the fans from a publisher's standpoint. You want to keep the fans coming and buying those books constantly, one after another. If I know myself as a fan, when I'm reading a comic and all of a sudden you have one really great artist, and then he stays there for 3 or 4 issues, and then all of a sudden he's gone, and some other person comes in. They can be a great artist, but the problem is that you kind of break the continuity of having the first artist, and then now you have this different artist. I want to see consistency. That's why I've chosen not to do monthly books, because a lot of the books now are bi-monthly or bi-weekly. I mean, and that means that I can't do a super long run. We would never be able to do 3 Jokers in a standard monthly Batman comic, and so I don't know. That's just something that that's something that I see, and that's something that I would like to see changed in comic books.
Okay, but sorry. Okay, okay. We're gonna have to have some fun with this. We got like what, 3 more minutes to make this real? Okay, how about this, brother? You're keep your humility to yourself. You're an amazing artist, all right, and nobody's gonna deny that. No response. Just take the compliment. How about this? What if for one time you can go back to the old days when like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko used to mostly write those stories? What would be the story that you would want to write? You know, sure.
From like classic era. Okay, I grew up with 90s X-Men and X-Force, Rob Liefeld X-Force. I would love to go back and draw 90s Chris Claremont written X-Men. And so that's what I would want to do. I would want to there was a lot of excitement in the early 90s from all the artwork and the books that were coming out. And it seems like that era is still imprinted on our comic books. So a lot of the best, a lot of the big name guys of today, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, these guys are still superstars today. And I just feel like there was such an excitement and enthusiasm for the art form at that time. And those Chris Claremont X-Men books back in the day they were awesome. And I think that would be something that I would want to work on.
Nice. Yeah, we're up to the part where you're talking about writing the Chris Claremont stuff. So
there you go.
Dude, that is fantastic. I love hearing your perspective on everything.
Yeah, the rest of that was pretty much just him making a pretty cool joke and then us laughing like 30 seconds later. It was a really great raucous time with a nice caesura in between. Anyway, how hot is it that this guy's going to be working on, well, has already worked on the 3 Jokers, and his next 2 projects are kind of dream projects for him. This dude, we're seeing his career skyrocket. All right, he's already big time, but his career is just skyrocketing even more. How hot is it that the 2 biggest influences on who and what he is was actually written by Jim Lee, who is now in charge of DC Comics. Wow, I'm saying. So guys, we're going to end it here. You guys have a good one. And next time that we interview Mr. Fabok, hopefully there'll be sound on both sides. And I'm out. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.